Okay, so how's everybody doing? All right, so in this episode, I just want to talk about some of the final details for the Glover Road diorama. The fun stuff, right? I want to touch on just some signage, some crossing gates, and other uh, additional details that I have kicking around that I'll probably use that some of you might be familiar with. So just let me first mention that when I do signs, usually is I've always done them on like 20 thou plastic. You can get this by Evergreen Models again. Plain, you get 3 sheets for $8 or whatever. Maybe less in the US probably, but that's what I use. And then in this case though, I want to give one word of warning. I just mounted it straight onto the plastic, these decals, which I haven't done for a long time. I must have forgot how I did it before, but as you can see, they kind of deformed a bit. I was trying to get them to lay down, and then in the process of trying to save them, I oversprayed them with matte medium, and it kind of distorted them somewhat. It faded them down. They'll look good for old age signs, but I'll keep those probably. But I don't know if I'm going to use them on the layout. I want this darker color from the original decal here. So here's a tip. So microset, which is I've mentioned before, I never really use, helps with this type of situation. If you're going to apply decals onto a super glossy surface or just unpainted, really seems to improve adhesion. It says right on there. So I know I kind of poo-pooed this stuff before, but it has a reason and a purpose, and that's what I would use it for. Normally I just use microsol over a painted surface, so, and it does most of the work. Now, so what I've done here is I've taken another piece of 20 thou and I've just brushed on some gray primer just to give it some tooth, and I'm going to lay up a few more signs. So I probably won't need that many, but they add a nice touch to the layout, I think. And you can see here there's some nice stop signs and speed signs. You can do your own speed, but I only had one of those. That one's I'm not going to be able to use, but 2-track, 3-track, 4-track, it's some nice stuff. Okay, that's by Microscale, and they are number 87-1430, made in USA, Microscale decals. Okay. Now I want to talk to you about crossing gates. So I have these here, like I scratch built. This is a crossing platform, which are really common up here. That's at the intersection, and so I needed some light bezels for here. Now I know you can get some kits for that, but I happen to have these kicking around, so I might use these or sacrifice this for these because they seem to be the right size that I want. And these I find to be a little bit overscale compared to the NG. Like these are Tomar, which are really good. I recommend them if that's the ratio that you're going with, but there's always a bit of variance with HO scale, I noticed. You can see there, right? I mean, that might just be prototypically standard, but I really like these NJ Internationals that I had for years kicking around. I picked them up, and they're quite nice. They can be activated with the servo under the layout, but I find them to be nice and scale. But they'll go, with this crossing platform well. I like the scale as opposed to the Tomar ones, which are probably fine too, but not for my liking right now. But I find the crossbucks to be a little bit large as well, but more like S scale maybe. But anyway, yeah, so that's for the crossing gates and platforms for the intersection at Cross Crescent and Glover Road on the diorama. So that'll be going in very soon. And then I just want to mention a couple of other little details that I have kicking around in the parts box that we all have. These are just the plug and play system by Woodland Scenics, right? I had these kicking around. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with these. I might use them somewhere along the back drop. We'll see. Mind you, I don't know if that theme really matches what I'm after, but we'll see about using those. And then I really like these. I had these kicking around. These are these little gooseneck lights, and they're just the standard itself. I'm just going to mount those because this is exactly the way the light looks on the Milner grain elevator. So I'm going to use one of those because it matches the prototype. So there's two there, so I'll be able to use those. Then, as most of you may be familiar with, there's this Blma chain link fence, which I'll probably use around the right side of the layout around that engine facility. I wish I had a few more packages of this. I don't know if you can still get it. I heard Atlas bought out Blma, but I haven't seen this stuff around. I know you can use tulle, like bridal veil material as well. Just that. And then there's this, with some of you boomers will be familiar with, I really like, is the old Campbell scale models. These are HO Profile Shingles, which I want to almost build a building around this. These shingles look really good when they're applied correctly and painted. That's kind of a nice feature if you're into scratch building. You can use all this stuff, right, to incorporate into your kit bashed, or you don't have to scratch a building completely. You can kit bash it too. Just add or change up things. So this I just wanted to mention quick. These are all my Grant Line nut and bolt castings. I'm so glad I kept these. I found these in one of my boxes when I used to be into the 148 scale ON3, like 3-foot narrow gauge, and I kept all these, all different sizes. I really love these little nut and bolt castings. They add a nice touch to a lot of the railroad subjects that you build. I believe you can still get them Grant Line. I'm not sure, but you can see I was really big back in the day scratch building. I went through a lot of these. Really loved them. They work for HO too, so especially for bridge work, and I use some of them on the poles. And then here's something too, like when you're around hobby shops, look around other areas too, like other genres. It doesn't have to be railroad. I found these, they're by Gundam or Hundam models. Anyway, they have a whole new kiosk that's just out now. It's fairly new, of photo etch for their figure type Gundam models for super detailing. You might find something in there you can use as well. These I grabbed because these are perfect options for the louvers for locomotive conversions, especially if you wanted to do a slug. Well, you got them all right there. It was $8 for that, but I find I'll get good use out of these. The nice little vent kind of louver details of 3 or 4 different sizes there. And the part number for that is HDGJ002 by HD Models. Yeah, saw those, so I grabbed a set of those. Yeah, so that's probably about it. And then of course there's this, I keep all my, as some of you know, like even all my little cuttings, right? I keep it all. You know why? Because if you're going to do a scaled debris pile or anything, it's a bit cumbersome to try to cut it all up in one sitting, but you just collect up all your short offcuts from all your scratch buildings, save them all. And you can see here, you can just soak all this in a thin dilution of paint and alcohol. And you can tone that all down and sprinkle it around and make nice cuttings, like around a shop or even on the floor of a gondola or something. You might want to consider saving all that. I don't throw it away, I keep it. Okay, so thanks for watching. I hope you have a great day.